a glazed donut is like it's the perfect donut, right? Because it goes along with everything. You can eat it with a
Hmm.
coffee. You can have it by itself. Maybe it's not as overwhelming as
Can't
anything
beat
else.
a
Oh
traditional
my goodness.
glazed donut.
Donuts, or as I like to call them, the circles of happiness, are beautifully delicious treats that some have for breakfast, others for dessert, or maybe both. Some like a classic glazed donut, while modern trends coat them with Nutella and other toppings. Which are our favorite donuts and why? Let's talk about that right now. These are the topics that matter, because on a cast of the past, we can't just talk about the games, the TV shows, the movies. You gotta eat something in between, and what better thing to eat than some sexy, delicious donuts? So we're gonna be talking about that. Do not forget, we have other episodes available every single Sunday with yours truly, Juan Velas from Puerto Rico, joining me from Boston, Massachusetts, a place that technically has some of that cream. We have the cream of the crop of a cast of the past.
That's quite
Ryan
an intro.
McNulty. Ryan, is the
Oh,
Boston
I
cream
get it.
actually
Oh, that's
from
funny.
Boston?
Okay. Say that again, Juan. I'm sorry.
Is
I
it
just
from
got
Boston?
your
'Cause
joke.
it's Boston cream, but is it like a French fry that it's not really from the place that it says?
You know, Keith, you're usually doing the fact checking. Can we get a fact check on that,
I'm on
maybe?
it.
Because I really don't know. I mean, you got Boston baked beans, Boston clam chowder. I would imagine Boston cream is from Boston, but I've never
Hopefully.
actually decided to look it up. But it's a very good question.
Have you had Boston cream though? Meanwhile,
I have many a time,
yeah,
and it is quite good.
it is delicious. But Keith, the man with the research, the man with the mouse and the keyboard right now from London, Ontario. As you do this research, from a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you enjoy donut on any given day?
I enjoy it. Like, there's a point in my life where it's a 10, but those points don't happen often. So when I get there, it's great. But like in a normal time, it's probably like about a 3. But if I'm in the mood for a donut, baby, I'm just eating that whole. We're going in.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that whole's so good, man. And Keith, you really have it. Okay, where is it from? You should just like Google like Boston cream. Is
Oh,
it from the
I have
place?
the answer here. I'm just
Oh,
waiting
okay.
for you to
Oh,
finish.
we'll throw it out, dude. Forget the
Apparently-
schedule. Throw it out there.
Yeah, it originated in New England.
Oh, okay.
But not specifically Boston.
Not
But it's
speci-
close enough. Everyone's just says Boston.
It was
anyway.
designated the official donut of how the hell do you say your state?
Massachusetts.
Ma-
in
Mass,
2003.
Boston,
Yeah, it was as
It
of
took till 2003, really?
Yeah, but
Wow.
before that, as of 1996, the Boston cream pie was your official dessert.
Oh,
Oh,
I like me a
that's
good
that.
Boston
We
cream
could save
pie.
that for a cast of the past after dark. Okay.
Oh yeah, I bet you do. But man, if
need to
anybody's
walk
still
away from
listening
that
to
one.
this right now, and you want to be part of the show, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. We also have a Discord, castofthepast.com/Discord. We got a lot of people that love them holes, them donut holes right there on that Discord. And you can leave a 5-star review. Not sure why, but you can leave that on any given podcast app. And
Yeah, maybe not this one, but hey,
Yeah,
I'm sure
but for
we'll
the
deserve
other
a 5-star
episodes.
review somewhere.
Exactly. You can leave it for an episode there, but for context, how did this dumb episode come to be? Because this dumb person talking right now ate over 10 to 15 donuts this past weekend live on Twitch, and we realized that there's a whole lot of donuts out there, a lot of different styles of donuts, and I did a little research. By that I mean I literally Googled when were donuts invented, and that was my research. So very proud of that. Hanson Gregory, an American, claimed to have invented the ring-shaped donut in 1847 aboard a lime trading ship when he was 16 years old. Ryan, what the hell did you invent when you were 16?
I don't know, but I'm just waiting for Hanson Gregory to make his NXT debut because that really sounds like one of
It
those
does.
names.
It does. He was dissatisfied with the greasiness of donuts twisted into various shapes and with the raw center of regular donuts. So he was somebody that revolutionized that. So in the 1800s is when these were invented, but it's not up until recently that people got a lot more creative because donuts initially were just like, hey, you make the basic donut, right? But then you add some glaze up top, whether it be white chocolate, vanilla, anything like that.
Add
But
some
now,
sprinkles in there, but other than that, you know.
yeah, but now it's like you have these horribly elaborate donuts, and some people actually cover up the hole. Can you believe that? with like Ferrero Rochers. Is that how you say it?
Ferrero
Keith, can you believe
Rocher?
they cover up the hole?
Not in my wildest dreams.
But then if you think about like a jelly donut, right? I guess it still has a hole, but that's where the filling is. It's a little bit different.
I think it counts if there's filling in the middle of the donut, because you can't, if you just had filling in a hole, it would go everywhere. You need a little filling container.
It's, logistics, right?
That is
Exactly.
very true.
So this kind of leads me to a question, something that I've been pondering since we decided to do this. Where does your definition of a donut end? Like, if we're talking about things like fritters, because I love a good apple fritter.
Yes.
But is that a donut?
Of course, because you're still talking about the actual ingredients. They do make them a donut. I mean, to the point that if you're in the video version, actually.
So why is it a fritter and not an apple donut then?
Oh, I think it's more so the shape. It's the same way you talk about donut holes. I know they still have donut.
Wasn't there
in the
like a
name.
bear claw, right? That's a
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's okay. Let's take it back just a few seconds.
Fritter might have a specific. Fritter is a dish made by deep fried food coated in batter. Donut is deep fried piece of dough or batter.
Well,
I don't
because
know, I don't know what the difference is.
maybe it's because of the apple. Because if they're technically coating pieces of apple and frying them, that's what makes it a fritter as opposed to just like a regular
Is apple
donut.
fritter a donut? Let's see. Apple fritters, donut, batter mixed. Okay, yeah, it's basically a donut.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not complaining. Look, I love me a good apple fritter. But when you talk about just the overall scheme of sweet treats, you have cheesecake, you have regular cake, you have ice cream, you have donuts and other stuff. Would you say that donuts is like something you do go out of your way to seek out whenever you want to see a sweet treat, or is it kind of just like if you stumble upon a Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons or something, that's when you get it?
Yeah, it's never my first pick. Like, if I want a sweet treat, I'll usually go for ice cream first. But if I'm being Canadian, if I'm having a Tim Hortons coffee, I'll usually get a donut with it, or like a little pack of Timbits, or what you like to call them, Are they donut holes?
Yes.
Like the center, the little center circle
Why do you feel
things?
so uncomfortable saying that?
I don't know. Well, everyone here calls
No
them
reason.
everyone here calls them munchkins because
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts calls their donut holes munchkins.
And here it's Timbits because that's what Tim Hortons calls them.
And because Dunkin' Donuts owns New England, essentially, you can't sneeze without finding a Dunkin' Donuts. Everyone calls them munchkins, even if they're talking about like a different donut place.
So you guys are in no way uncomfortable with saying the term donut hole? Because for me, it's extremely uncomfortable.
I mean, I love me a good hole, man. So this leads us to a very serious conversation because look, the whole point is we want to figure out which are our favorite donuts. And that too, we'll talk about that in the following one. But when you talk about donuts, store-bought, bakery, do you have a standard of like, I'm only eating a donut if I go to like a Dunkin'? Or say you go, you have your grocery, like your supermarket donuts that they've maybe been there for like 4 days and they taste okay, but they don't look great.
Yeah, I think bakery is going to win every single time. The only time I might get like a store-bought donut, I used to get them when I was younger because whatever.
Like Entenmann's and all that,
but
right?
Yeah, but if it's, maybe if it's like 2 a.m. you're at a 7-Eleven and you just need something to eat.
Man, those like honey glaze garbage 7-Eleven donuts.
Or those like the chocolate ones with like the yellow cake in them. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
That one I'm not familiar with.
They're like the store-bought donuts and they were like completely chocolate like layer, but then inside was like almost like, like vanilla cake. They were all right, but yeah, for the most part, every once in a while, I'll have a good one of those like Intimates or whatever. But it's bakery all the way. You're never going to beat a bakery.
Yeah, agreed. That's there's like kind of two tiers of donuts for me. There's a paired with coffee donut and like a fancy donut. Like a lot in London where I am, there's a lot of like artisan donut places that'll make like crazy flavors and are only opened on Saturdays and only have limited runs and you have to pre-order them. Like every once in a while I enjoy that, but that's a little too much for me most of the time. So I'll just like get your typical coffee shop donut. I don't like the store ones because they're not
They're
great.
usually mushy, and
Yeah,
that just
in a
texture is
weird
just so
way.
awkward.
Or stale, more like tougher. You know what I
And you
mean?
need to put them in like those garbage plastic bags that they come in, and then all like that
The
topping.
glaze.
Yeah, the glaze gets all over the
Yeah.
bag, and it's a nightmare to put your hand into. It's just, I don't know. I would love to meet somebody that says I would pick a store-bought donut over anything else and get to know what their life is
I
like.
think it's the same. It's the same mentality as like a frozen pizza, right? A frozen pizza never beats a delivered pizza from a restaurant. And maybe there's a couple outliers, or if the pizza place is really bad, but you get it because okay, it's good, and it's not bad, but it can't compare, but you'll still get it anyway. I kind of liken it to the same thing.
Yeah, you get a similar satisfaction. And now,
Yeah.
sort of going back to Keith's point about the apple fritter, when you talk about donuts, you usually have your traditional circle-shaped donut, but then you have the ones that are, the donut holes, the circle ones. Then you have the long donuts, right? That's where you usually get the long john, some places call it, or the maple bacon donuts. You have the ones that are filling. So when you talk about like your general preferred donut, do you like one that's a filling? It's very, very beefy, just like chopped tortillas. It's like you're gonna fall asleep afterwards, or do you prefer like a more traditional style, old school cake or yeast donut?
I think if I'm just going to enjoy, like I just want a whole donut to enjoy, I would prefer something a little bit more traditional, like a glazed donut. But I do like to try the fancier ones, but a lot of times they're a little overwhelming, so it's better to have like only a couple bites of one of the fancy ones. Like the maple bacon you just mentioned, I had yesterday. After your stream of eating all the donuts,
Yeah.
my girlfriend and I were inspired, so she picked up from a place called Cane's Donuts, and she picked up one of them was maple bacon, and I had it. It was pretty good. I didn't get too much of the bacon flavor, but kind of having that a little bit of a crunch was pretty satisfying, and I did every once in a while get a little hit of the bacon flavor, and it was much better than I expected.
That's so interesting. I need to try a maple bacon one because in my head it sounds disgusting, but everybody that like has had one says it's good. So one day I'll get there. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way where when I'm thinking about my favorite donuts, I guess I lean more towards like a filling. Like number one with a bullet for me is Boston cream, and I'm also a big fan of like a dulce de leche donut. But I'll go out of my way to try the crazy flavors in now and then. Like one of my favorite donuts that I've had in recent memory was a cheddar apple pie donut. Sounds weird with the cheddar part, but it was freaking delicious. It was
That is weird, but I'm very curious to try that though.
When you say cheddar, is it like, because I'm
like the
envisioning
top,
like shredded.
it's a filled donut. The top of it was cheddar cheese, and then the filling was apple pie. It was delicious. Weird. Very weird. Especially when you didn't get like an apple taste in it because it was like dough and cheese. But once you got all three of them in there, that was like a bite made in heaven.
That actually wouldn't surprise me. And I think the reason people love bacon and all that stuff, and even cheddar cheese, is that when you add saltiness to anything that's sweet, it becomes even bigger, like the bolder flavor. And that's why they usually put them in the very top. Now, I think we can all agree that just a glazed donut is like, it's the perfect donut, right? Because it goes along with everything. You can eat it with a coffee. You can have it by itself. Maybe it's not as overwhelming
Can't
as anything
beat
else.
a traditional
Oh my goodness.
glazed donut.
Yeah. See, I agree, but I like chocolate glaze. Like when you're talking it up, like I'd prefer a chocolate glaze over just like your traditional donut that on the video version Ryan is currently going to town on. So I agree but disagree.
So while Ryan keeps eating that donut,
Yeah, I guess it's just you and me on this episode now.
yeah,
Treat for
we
the
are-
video version. You get to, and maybe a little ASMR for the podcast people.
That is very true. I got to get to a controversial statement, which I brought this up on my Twitch stream, and I think many people agreed. I'm going to just throw this out there. You let me know if you agree, disagree, or why. I'm in the mindset that when places have all of these overly elaborate toppings and things on top of the donut, it's more often than not a friendly way of saying, hey, here's like a super mediocre donut, and I'm putting a bunch of Nutella or other stuff to make up for that. What's your
Yep.
take on that?
I am 100% agreeance in it. It bothers me, the trend of like bakeries there that like, because the same thing happens with cupcakes, it happens with milkshakes, where it's like, oh, let's load $25 worth of toppings on this garbage vanilla cupcake and then sell it as this big fancy thing. It happens with donuts, and it's super unnecessary. Now there's a couple of them that I do like. Like, I'm a big fan of like the cereal milk ones, where it's like a cereal milk and Trix on top of a donut, but that's not too bad. It's definitely way worse in like the milkshake cupcake area, because it's fun to look at. I guess the best way to describe it is it's an Instagram trend. Like, it is an Instagrammable donut, but
because
there's
their
no
photo. Yeah, they go for the Instagram photo more than anything else. So,
But once
I
you
will
get
say
to the
this,
substance, there's nothing.
that there is a place for these types of donuts, the elaborate donuts. But I kind of liken it to the same thing as like a pizza place, right? When I go to a new pizza place, I always have to try the cheese pizza. So I know baseline, is the actual pizza itself good, and the toppings aren't doing all the talking, right? So I'm not necessarily going to say I'll have like an original plain donut, but I would probably want to try like at least a glazed donut. So that gives you an idea of what, is the actual donut itself good? So I think you got to treat it the same way. So some places can do all these elaborate donuts, but hey, if you can back it up with your traditional donut, then go to town.
And it's so sad because I mean, both of you were there on the stream, and it's not the first time that whenever I love a grilled cheese, right? I'm a person that loves to buy the most basic thing in every place
You
because
speak to
it's
my
like,
heart.
yeah, because it's like, look, everybody can make an average grilled cheese or pizza, right? When it's only like the cheese, when it's only like the cheese pizza. But not everybody can make a great cheese pizza or a great grilled cheese. It's like, what are you going to be doing that is so different? So I've been to places, like I have a place 5 minutes from here, people, that you know how much they sell their glazed and sugar donuts for? 1/4. They never raise their prices. And it's still one of the best donuts out there. I compared that to a glazed donut that was $2.50. And it looked perfect, the shape, like the glaze, it's super Instagrammable. I chewed on it. I knew it was baked that day, and it felt dry. It felt lifeless, and it's like this whole thing of I love when a donut is imperfect. I don't need it like this perfect circle shape. I want a donut that's a little bit imperfect because that to me means like you put some tender,
That other
loving
places,
care into it.
they're all flash and no substance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And now, without further ado, Ryan, starting it off with you. Based on all this, talking about texture, flavor, the actual donut, perhaps possible toppings, what's one of your favorite donuts and why?
Okay, so my favorite donut, and I'm not sure you guys have these or not. Maybe in Canada they have them, but this is kind of like a fall tradition in New England, at least. Apple picking is a thing. Keith, do they have apple picking?
Yep.
With you? Okay, so Juan, I don't know. Do they have apple trees in Puerto Rico?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you have
All
any
right.
fruit that you export there?
I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
plenty. There's
Oh, yeah,
coconuts.
no, a lot,
They
yeah.
almost fell on our heads. Remember
Yeah.
when we were walking through the forest? Anyway.
Exactly, true.
So you go to like a farm that has a big orchard, and you go apple picking, and you pick a bunch of apples, whatever. But usually at these places around here, there's always like a bakery. Like there's a farm store and they have a bakery. And what they have are these apple cider donuts.
Mhm.
And
Oh, man.
they
Yeah.
are so good, and they're baked that day. You get them fresh from the farm, and you can get the two options. They just have the traditional apple cider donuts that don't have like any sugar on them, and you can get the ones with the sugar on them. And both of them are phenomenal. So it's all on your preference, but they are just so good. And like I said, you can basically get them like right out of the oven. And they are to me just the best because they're the most fresh, and the apple cider taste is so good. And when you can smell them like from, outside the store, it's an experience, because it just goes in line with it's one of the best things about the fall. So
And
apple cider donut.
And I think that whole key of like it's the warm donut, like not hot, but warm.
Yeah.
Like recently came out, so it's still like a little bit soft, but it's not just
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's not gonna burn you or anything like that. I think
No,
that's like
exactly.
an excellent combination. What about you,
Agreed.
Keith?
I mentioned it earlier, but my number one pick is just a good old fashioned Boston cream. I just love it's the top. Like, if you didn't have the cream in there, it would be a whole different story. But just that bite when you get to the middle part, and then you get that like shot of cream in there. It is my favorite. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll over that one. But just my favorite taste on the planet. Just I love it so much. But beyond that, I guess I'm pretty simple with donuts. Like the other ones that I would mention are like a good chocolate glaze, a good honey dip is another favorite of mine. Something a little sweet. I always go to the sweet side of donuts, not big into like the savory flavors. Like I know a big one here in Canada that Tim Hortons has is like a sour cream donut,
Yes.
which is a little. See, I hate that. I think it tastes awful.
I'm a big sour cream
Oh.
person, but I don't know how I'd feel about the donut. I'd try it for sure.
So I always lean towards that stuff, and like like if I were to have to pick one dessert ever to eat for the rest of my life, it would be a creme brulee, and a Boston cream donut is very close to a creme brulee. It's
That custard.
that custard in the middle. Oh, it's what dreams are made of.
Keith, you have no idea how offended I am because my number one pick is a sour cream donut.
Perfect.
So, like, put it this way, I don't know if I actually shared this story with you. So, I travel a lot because of my work. So, I went to Washington D.C. and there was a farmers market. Usually, farmers markets are like the best place to look at donuts and all that because they were just made that morning. It's usually made by a family. There was this older lady and she had all of these different donuts there. I see a sour cream donut, so I'm just thinking like I gotta buy that. And I'm not one to like eat in front of the person that made the food because if it's not good, then it gets kind of awkward, right? But it looks so beautiful, and this is not a joke. I ate it. I legitimately got emotional. I got teary-eyed because look, like you have no idea how I travel to eat. Like whenever I travel, it is pretty much to that. I can forget about the sightseeing. I can forget about all that. It was so damn good. I literally went back the day after she made more. I ate 7 of them. Like that's how much I love them. So
That's impressive.
The reason that I love talking about donuts, it's like it's this simple thing. I think if you talked about savory food, maybe French fries would be the most like one-to-one thing. It's just something super easy to make. It's like you pick them up with your hands. You don't have to do any fancy stuff, but you can do. Same thing with like French fries. You got poutine. Here you got glaze. French fries, you got cheese and bacon. Here you have maple bacon. So, oh man, could you do a French? Is there a Okay, I gotta look this up right now. Is there a French fry donut? French fried donut. Okay,
I mean,
apparently.
Yeah, it would just be like a deep fried French fry, wouldn't it?
Oh, well they
French
have the
fries are
donut
already
fries.
deep fried.
Yeah, but like in a sweet glaze. Yeah, like a donut fry.
Well, that is true. Or a churro, I guess. What's your take on churros?
Kind of. They're all right.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like an overrated sugar donut.
Ryan,
I'm fully
got
with you.
You got a little bit of glaze on the beard, man.
I know. But I'm going to like basically borrow your take from your stream with churros is that if they're fresh, I'm all in. But the second they're even remotely stale, no thank you.
Yeah, I agree. And I love the fact that we had this random conversation because I think these are the things that we enjoy, right? When you're not watching something, or even when you're watching something, you're eating something. I remember when Keith and I went to WrestleMania together, the places that we stopped at were Dunkin' Donuts. So it was coffee and donuts, and there's something so satisfying about that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute!
I have an order of 12 fritters coming to my doorstep on Friday. I can't wait.
Oh, please share some pictures of that, Keith.
I will. There's a whole bunch of different flavors. I'm so excited.
I got 2 questions to close off this sexy episode. Number 1, donuts, coffee, dunk or not?
Dunk? The hell's
Yeah?
wrong with you? No.
Yeah?
It's disgusting.
Wait, you haven't done it? Are
No,
you
that's
kidding me?
repulsive.
Even though the place is called Dunkin' Donuts,
Oh,
I
no.
never,
It is in
I
the
never
name.
do that.
It is in the name.
I've never been like an Oreo. Even Oreos, I don't dunk.
Oh,
So-
no, you're ruining a good coffee that way. Getting like the sugar glaze? No, that's repulsive.
I'm
Ugh.
afraid to bring up my second one. It wasn't even about... Screw it. I'm going to bring it up because the other thing we do here in Puerto Rico a lot is dipping French fries into the Frosty from Wendy's.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard about that.
It's the
I'm
Wait,
not-
that's okay, but the other one's not? Screw
Yeah.
you, Keith.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
No, because like as much as I enjoy a good donut, if I'm doing like the coffee donut combo, coffee is number one. Like if it's tiered, it's coffee 1, donut 2. You are ruining the coffee by putting the donut in it. When it comes to the frosty thing, fries are number 1. So you're enhancing the fries by putting the frosty on it. So there's a difference.
Complicated formulas that
It's true.
Keith has come up with.
I'm just surprised at how off the cuff he came up with that.
It's because I've thought a lot about this, except the whole donut part. The frosty thing,
Yeah.
I've been doing that my entire life, and I love it.
I'm very like segmented in things. Like I don't like to have two sugar-based things like at once. So like if it's a coffee and a donut experience, a lot of times I'm like, okay, I'll eat the donut, then I will drink some water to cleanse the palate, and then I will enjoy my coffee because I do put like sweetener in my coffee. So I feel like I'm not getting the full effect of the coffee if I've just eaten a very sugary thing. So
Side question here: what do you all take in your coffee? I'm a double person.
Double is...
2 cream, 2 sugar.
I
So-
usually do heavy cream with my coffee, just a splash, and then 2 sweetener packets.
if it's from a coffee shop, I would do like 1 like cream or actually if it's like a medium-sized coffee, which means a totally different thing in America than
Oh,
it does
yeah.
in your
Because
location.
that's like an extra large to us.
Yeah. So then, man, yours is way more potent even, although I don't know what the size of the cream
Well,
Puerto
they,
Rico,
they,
all
they
their coffees are
proportion.
espresso.
They proportion
Okay.
everything. So,
So
like
for me,
yeah, go
like
ahead.
at a coffee shop, it would be like 1 cream and then like 2 sweeteners, I guess.
Okay. So I knew I said I was going to close off the episode, but just based on what Ryan said, I gotta bring up one more question because Ryan said no sweet with sweet. What about an ice cream donut sandwich?
I mean, it's considered like one entity, so I
Yeah.
would eat it. Like, it's if I was having a like sweet drink with a sweet like dessert, I feel like, if you have a hot chocolate with something else really sweet, are you really tasting the full effect of either of them? You know what I
So
mean?
you're like no go on like a candy cane hot chocolate then because
No, that's fine because it's like part of the experience.
Okay, I
guess,
understand.
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
that's a little different.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm ashamed I actually did this. I went to one of my favorite... I have a picture, so I'll tweet it, a cast of the past, and I'll post it on the Discord. I went to my favorite donut place. I bought a sugar donut. I went to a buffet. This is before social distancing and all that. And I went to the ice cream machine, split the donut in half, filled it with brownie, chocolate ice cream. I made my own ice cream sandwich, and it was amazing.
Wow.
And I have no regrets.
Yeah, that's what happens
That's
at a buffet. You
props to your
shouldn't feel
creativity.
regret.
I had to. But people, we talked about donuts. So I'm just going to say we can probably talk about almost anything in this podcast just based on this one episode. So if there's any other random topic, we just love like every couple of weeks to just take a break and talk about whatever, right?
Look forward to our Chef Boyardee episode in 2024.
Top 5 Chef Boyardee cans. Well, what's in the can, I should say. But yeah, let us know if there's any other topics you would love for us to talk about in the podcast. Or don't forget that you can join the Discord at acastofthepast.com/Discord. If you're still listening to this and you like the episode, well, consider leaving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. And up until next time, we will be back with another exciting edition of A Cast.
True though.
Past.